Noi right now, working on your new book.
Yes.
What's the inspiration? You know, you've written many, many books, right, about youth. How do you get inspiration for all of these books?
Well, I think each book of mine is a journey of self-exploration and self-education. So at a specific time, I just have some interest into some things like, you know, when I was younger, I was interested in traveling. So I traveled to different countries around the world. So that was the inspiration for my first book. And then after that, I moved on to youth development and self-education. And that was the second book of mine, which has been voted as the bestseller book for the last 2 years. And then now I'm moving on to other things. And the book that I'm working on right now is about community development and sustainable living.
Wow, lady, you surely know how to keep yourself busy. Now, based on what you just said before, you seem to be particularly interested in the millennials as well as the youth. Now, why this in particular?
Well, because millennials and young people, of course, account for a large percentage of Vietnam's population, right? So to me, if we don't care for what is happening to young people, then you cannot keep up with what is happening in this country. And caring for young people is a way to care for the future and nurture, you know, hope or positive social changes. Yeah.
And I've noticed one thing about one of your books. It's How Much is Youth Worth, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, in this particular book, I can see a strong presence of the genre of self-help. Now, these days, a lot of influencers have actually stepped up to voice up against, you know, self-help books, thinking that it sort of motivates people to be a bit self-righteous and bit delusional about who they really are. What is your take on this? Do you agree with this particular statement?
Well, yes, I can observe that nowadays there has been, you can say, a movement or something called anti-self-help. But to me, it's not a very critical or rational way to think about books. Of course, you can find thousands, if not millions of good and bad books in other genres as well, like historical fiction or science or romance, you name it. And so it is certain that there are good and useful self-help books as well as misleading and I would say nonsense ones in just like other genres. So I think it is about the way that the authors write the book and also about how we choose books to read as well. So to me, I always do a little bit of research before I choose a book to read. For example, do the authors have the experiences and expertise in what they are writing? Or are they qualified to write about such topics? Or do they really pour their hearts into the craft of writing and write conscientiously for the benefit of the readers, or do they just merely follow fame and I can say money? So it's not about the problem of the type or the genre of the book. And also, as I said, it's also about how people choose to read books. I would say books are one kind of food, right? The food for your soul, the food for your mind. So for young readers, I always say to them, like, please choose your books wisely. Like, don't read the easy stuff because it wouldn't help you to grow. One thing about self-help book is that many of the self-help books will not help you if you don't really apply what is suggested in the books. So after reading a book, it's about the matter of taking action.
You know, fully capitalize on what you've written. Do you have any tips for that?
One of my reading habits is that I keep reading as a daily habit. So I usually choose to read 2 to 3 books at the same time. For example, I would read about 50 pages of a non-fiction book today, and then tomorrow I will read another 50 pages of a fiction book. So that way I will keep myself like balanced between the reality and the imagination, or the practical stuff and the, I can say, romantic stuff. Then for the people, for the readers that read my book, I think because my books have a lot of experiences that I had myself, so I would love to hear them hear them experience what I did, and then let them see how it can apply to their life.